purpose of this live stream is to talk about mental health and mental illness. It's about normalizing mental health and conversations about mental health and mental illness. Not enough people talk about it. What I mean, we need to talk about it more, and we need to be more engaged with it from the perspective of everyone has issues. We all need to work on our mental health. We all need to be working on our degree of mental illness, because that's what we need in our culture more, is dealing with what's in our head. Because if you can see from the polarized world we're living in, something needs to happen, people. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Dr. Stephen Walker's Mental Health Live Stream, where again, the operative word is live stream. Okay, that means I'm streaming live, and we're talking about mental health topics. We're talking about topics relating to how to have a healthier mental attitude, how to have a healthier mental state of being, what contributes to that, what exacerbates that, what makes it worse. But the key to these mental health live streams is exactly that: you interacting with me. Okay, you interacting with me so that we can discuss what's on your mind. All right, that's the key to these live streams, is you in talking about what's on your mind. Happy birthday. Sorry we missed it. I was off last week, had a very challenging week on multiple levels. Let's just say we had our Facebook page hacked and multiple accounts hacked, so we had to backtrack and do a whole bunch of things, which stressed us the hell out. But anyway, here we are. So I want to thank everyone for joining me live. But the key is, remember, this is a live stream, so I'm counting on you interacting with me and asking me questions. You can call me live. You can engage with me about something on your mind. You can ask me a question. The topic for tonight is how to stop hurting people. How to stop hurting people. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Before I want to get into that, real quick, mention it every live stream, helpahuman.org. It's a way that you can donate into a fund that I use to help people who can't afford treatment. I get calls like this every day. Breaks my heart. I wish I could work with everybody, but the reality of running a small business in America is that it's very expensive, and I wish I could just work for free. So helpahuman.org is a way to donate into a fund that I can then use to help other people who can't afford to get the help they need. Want to talk quickly about our sponsor, betterhelp.com. It's a online mental health platform that has tens of thousands of licensed mental health practitioners. If you're ever interested in getting some help, here's the way to do it. Type in betterhelp.com/Dr. Walker. I'll put the link in the live stream. I'm in the live feed right now, and you can click on it. But the key again is you have to put in the code Dr. Walker. Why? Because you'll get a discount. Remember, they approached me. I did not approach them. Check it out. Okay. Hey, Judy. Hey, Angie. Hey, Sigrid. Thanks, Sigrid. I'm back. I'm not going to be on Thursday. We are, unfortunately, I've got a professional engagement I've got to get to on Thursday night, but we're here Tuesday night. Please ask a question, make a comment. Okay. So let's get back to our topic for tonight, which is how to stop hurting people. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that expression, hurt people. Okay. That's what I want to talk about tonight, is how our own unhealed hurt is affecting other people, how that is affecting people around us, our unhealed emotional wounds, things within us that we're not dealing with, things that we need to start dealing with. Okay. How to stop hurting people is the topic for tonight, because we're living, and I've said this before, we are living in definitely interesting times. We're living in times where people do not seem to care about how we hurt each other, how we affect each other. We seem to be moving away from the idea that, oh no, wait a minute, the person I'm interacting with may have just lost a loved one, may have just been diagnosed with an illness, may have just been fired, may have just had some sort of issue that is affecting them in a negative way, but we don't seem to be able to empathize with people anymore. We don't seem to be able to say to people, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give you some slack here in the way I'm interacting with you. So the main way I encourage people how to stop hurting people is to stop hurting yourself, is to stop attacking you, is to stop putting yourself down. You guys have heard me talk about this over and over and over. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you need to work on. If your relationship with you is hateful, perfectionistic, mired with a continual stream of regret and, oh, I should have, why didn't I do this, and I'm such a loser, or whatever, even at a minor level. Hey Kat, how are you? Let us know who's on tonight, Kat. Hope it's you. We haven't heard from you in a while. Kat is a long time listener. She's got dissociative identity disorder and she is dealing with some issues herself. Let us know. Oh, I just realized I typed the wrong link. BetterHelp.cpm. Well, there you go. That's the beautiful thing about live video. You never know when you're going to make a mistake and have to. That's another thing. I always see these people posting these slick videos. I would love for them to go live, take calls, take questions live. Let's see how slick that is. But anyway, there's the link. It's in the chat stream. Here's the link, betterhelp.com/Dr. Walker. Get some help, people. Okay? You want to stop hurting people? That's the way to do it, is to work on those internal pains, those internal wounds that you know you have that aren't being healed. And I hear this from people all the time. I get new clients all the time, or new patients all the time, who come to me basically at the end of their rope thinking there's nothing they can do. This is who they are. They're going to continue to be who they are without any hope of the future, without any hope of ever getting better. Oh, Kat's back. How are you, Kat? Why don't you update us on what's going on? Great to see you back. How are you? How you feeling? Let us know. Again, anybody wants to go on live, you can give me a call. Let me post the number. This is the number to my office, which goes straight to my cell phone. Where is it? Here it is. You can call me directly, and there's another link right here. I finally figured out how this is all backwards. See it right there. Okay. You can give me a call. We can chat. We can talk about what's on your mind. We can vent. You can talk about anything you want. You can talk about politics. You can talk about anything that's going on. Because again, this is a live stream with a licensed psychologist to talk about what's on our mind. Okay. So let's get back to the topic. Okay. The topic for tonight is how to stop hurting people. So we talked about the first one, right? Identify how you're hurting yourself. Identify how your relationship with yourself is negatively affecting your relationships around you. Okay. If you guys can hear that music in the background, let me know if that's too loud. But that's the key number one, is identifying, how am I hurting myself? How am I relating to myself? How am I saying things to myself that I would never say to another human being? What am I saying to myself that I wouldn't say to my children? Or if I am saying things to my children in a negative way, what's going on with me that I'm not able to apologize to them? What's going on with me? Yeah, Kat, let us know what's going on. A lot of us we've been wondering when you're going to be back. So what's going on with me where I can't say to another human being that I've hurt, gee, you know what? I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. And this whole idea that people are being told by other mental health people, some aren't licensed, some are in Canada. Won't mention anybody by name, but there's a gentleman, way more followers, way more views than me, and that's fine. But he's telling people not to apologize. He's telling people, don't apologize if you don't think you did anything wrong. And that's not the issue. The issue is you apologize if you've hurt somebody. You apologize if you've hurt somebody, okay? It's okay, Kat. You can call right now if you want, and we can talk about what's going on. It's up to you. You're not disrupting anything. The topic is not why I'm doing these live streams. The topic is to get people engaged with what's going on. So if you want to call right now, you can call and we can talk about what's going on with you. And you can let people know what it's like to live with dissociative identity disorder. We can talk about what you go through on a daily basis, okay? Remember, anybody gets triggered and you're feeling like you're going to hurt yourself, just hang up and call 911, okay? Because this is not, I'm not going to be able to do in-depth therapy with somebody in a short amount of time. This is just to give people the idea of what talking to a licensed psychologist is about. But Kat, what I'd like, but before you call, is make sure you can handle this. I don't want to do anything that's going to cause any kind of hurt or damage or anything. So you decide. You can text. Why don't you just post some questions or whatever if you'd like. I don't want to trigger you, or I don't want to flood you with anything. So because I don't want to drop in the middle of what your treatment team may be working on. But getting back to how to stop hurting people. So way number one, stop hurting yourself. Stop interacting with yourself in a negative way. Stop saying things to yourself that you are saying to yourself because you're basically repeating things that happened to you as a child. Step number two, if you've hurt somebody, own that. Identify that. The fact that you can hurt, you can identify that you've hurt somebody means you're still mentally healthy, means that you're predominantly healthy. And people have this idea that if they're hurt, if they experience pain, that somehow they are weak or they're not healthy. Let me tell you something, people who can feel emotional and psychological pain, you are still emotionally and psychologically healthy. It's the people who can't feel anything that are the people that need to be checked out. And if you're checked out, meaning checked on, if you're a person who has trouble feeling feelings and feeling what you're going through, that's a sign that you need to do some work, because there's some trauma in there impeding your ability to feel things. That is that feeling, being able to be hurt is healthy. Is this annoying? Sorry. Being able to be hurt is healthy. I know it hurts, but the fact that you can still be hurt means that you're healthy. Okay. So let's make that perfectly clear. And again, if you're watching this live or catching it after I post it, please share it. Please share it. Okay. Somebody just asked a question. Any advice on dealing with intrusive thoughts, OCD? Great, Kelly. How are you? Thank you. Great question. The main thing that I would encourage you to do, Kelly, if you're dealing with intrusive, obsessive thoughts, write them down. Get a theme. Find out what the theme is. Is the theme, say, personal safety? Is the theme being somehow infected? What is the theme of your intrusive thoughts? Once again, think of the word, okay? Intrusive. That is a misnomer, because intrusive has this idea that it's intruding upon you. It's coming from outside in. It's not, okay? Most intrusive obsessive thoughts are being fueled. Remember, that thing we all say stems from, it comes out of, stemming from trauma, is stemming from something that is affecting you. So Kelly, if it's you having intrusive thoughts, give us an idea of give me an idea of what those thoughts are. What's the general theme of those thoughts? And we can maybe work on that. But mindfulness, I don't know if you've seen the live stream I did a few weeks ago, about a couple months ago, on mindfulness. Mindfulness is one of the keys to dealing with intrusive thinking, because the more you can become aware of what you're thinking and feeling, the more you can actually interact with it and dispute the validity of it. Some intrusive thoughts and obsessive compulsive disorder thinking that can't be dealt with purely psychologically can have a medical intervention, can help you deal with that from that level. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't talk about medication. I wish psychiatrists wouldn't talk about therapy, because I don't talk about what I'm not trained in. And I wish psychiatrists would do the same, because most psychiatrists are not trained to give therapy. I don't know if people knew that. But so what I would encourage you to do, Kelly, if you're having intrusive thoughts is, first off, like you've heard me say over and over and over and over, take the it's okay pill. It's okay that I'm having these intrusive thoughts. Work on not hating them, not trying to eliminate them, not trying to kill them. That is one thing that will fuel more and more obsessive thinking, is getting into the mentality that you have to kill it. I hate how I feel. I hate how I feel. I can't express it to people enough. Okay. Hating how you feel will fuel the negative thoughts. Okay. Because you have your negative thoughts here. You have hatred, which is another powerful negative emotion. You add it to that, you're going to compound it. And negative times a negative when it comes to psychology and emotions is not a positive. It's suicide. It's more and more depression. It's more and more negativity. So, Kelly, what I would encourage you to do is be aware of the theme of your obsessive thoughts. Okay. Remember, having obsessive, intrusive thoughts is not necessarily something that cannot be worked on. You can't look at it like it's something that I have to hate or kill out of me. Now, am I saying to love it? Of course not. Of course, I'm not saying to love it. But in between love and hate is acceptance, okay, people? And you got to work on accepting them by dealing with them and talking about them and getting into a situation where you can talk that out with somebody. Okay, there are people who just do OCD behaviors and obsessive compulsive disorder thinking. You know, they're very matter of fact. They don't do talk therapy. I actually have a client that is found out that what the difference is in styles. So, but you've got to get into a situation where you can deal with how you're thinking. Okay. Kat, just tell me when you would like. It's up to you, Kat. Again, remember. Okay, Kelly. Yeah, go back and listen to my Kat before you call. We have to make sure that whatever we talk about is not going to trigger you. I do not want to trigger you. Remember, guys, I'm 25 years in this field. Okay. I care about the people I talk with. I care about the people I work with, and doing no harm is the number one thing that guides my way of doing what I do. So yes, Kat, you can call whenever you want and I'll stream it live and we can talk a little bit about what you're going through. It's totally up to you. But we just want to make sure that you're not going to get triggered or anything like that. So getting back to, so whenever you're ready, getting back to the topic, how to stop hurting people. Step number 3 to that. Step number 3 is get into a situation where you can talk things out. Get into that pain. Get into what is going on with you. Why do you hate people so much? Why are you so angry? Why are you so bitter? Why are you so pessimistic? What is going on with all this negativity? Talk that stuff out. Talk it out with somebody who's trained, who can help you deal with it. If you go to dentist, if you go to any other ist, don't have any shame about going to a psychologist or a counselor or any mental health practitioner, licensed mental health practitioner. Please make sure they're licensed. Please ask them for their license. Please ask them for their training. Interview them. Don't go on a podcast thinking that who you're listening to about mental health has any experience working with patients, has any training in mental health. Don't assume that, because a lot of them don't. They've read a few self-help books and now they know how to cure depression. Yeah, I had a toothache, so now I can be a dentist. Let me hang out my shingle and start treating teeth pain or whatever it's called, toothaches. So the beauty of working with a licensed mental health practitioner is that if you've never been in a situation where you've talked about pain, that is a very cathartic thing to do. Because if I have heard once, I've heard it thousands of times. Oh, dude, that felt so good just to get off my chest. That felt so good to talk. Okay. That is what the beauty of it. That's why when we talk about how to stop hurting people, the first thing to realize is that, not first thing, but we're talking about a whole bunch here, but there's hundreds of these. I'm just going on some that I've seen. The first thing to do is to realize that you have the power to hurt people. You have the power to hurt people. A lot of people who have low self-esteem don't think, oh, come on, who am I? And I can't say anything. I can't do anything to hurt anybody. Who am I? I'm a loser. No one cares about me. No one will hurt people. Yes, you have the power to hurt people. Okay. And I encourage everybody, because the flip side to hurt people is healed people, heal people. Okay. And I encourage everybody to work on healing their mental illness. Why do I say mental illness? Because everyone has a degree of mental illness. Everybody. You should have seen my mental illness bubble up when I realized somebody hacked my account. These people have nothing better to do with their life than to disrupt other people's lives. So yes, trust me, I have a volatile side that I keep under control, but sometimes it bubbles up because I'm a passionate person and it burns brightly on both ends. And if you come at me in a way that I don't like, I'll give you multiple chances to calm down. But at some point, and that's another good thing to talk about actually real quick here is about healthy mental illness, because everyone has a degree of mental illness. Every single person has a degree of mental illness. I've worked on a lot of mine. I've worked for years, starting in my late 20s into my 30s, and it propelled me into this field. I don't know, I've ever talked about that too much, but I wasn't always in this field. In my mid to late 20s, I wasn't in this field until I went through a very painful experience in my life that caused me to get really down on myself, really low, which just showed me, okay, dude, you need to work on this. As I worked on it and began healing, I went into teaching. After I realized I didn't really want to be a classroom teacher, I went into counseling, got my master's, and I went on and got my doctoral degree. But the work on myself continues last night. I mean, I continue to work on these issues that unfortunately nobody taught me about as a kid. And some of you know, I have a 5-year-old. Bracy saying I need to stand up for myself. They cause constant hurt and drama. Yes, I hear you. Hey, Doc, been a while. Glad to be here tonight. You talked about not feeling. Is that why they cut themselves? Absolutely. Well, cutting is an interesting thing, because I've worked with several people who do self-mutilation and self-harm in multiple different ways, but it's not that cut and dry to say they don't feel. A lot of what I've heard a few people say is they do it to feel. They do it to remind themselves they're alive. There's a thrill associated with a certain degree of pain that people feel that makes them feel more alive. Is a lot of it rooted in low self-esteem and negative feelings about themselves? Absolutely. It is. But that doesn't necessarily mean that cutting, by definition, is a maladaptive thing. Now, what I'm saying is, if you're cutting to deal with negative thoughts and emotions, then it's maladaptive. But there are cultures who cut their skin and they paint their bodies. Tattooing is a form of pain. Okay, Kat. Give us a ring. We'll do a few minutes, and then, because I can't stay on too long tonight, so we'll see where we go. But I don't know if you have the number, but let's go ahead and you can call. And here's the number. Anybody else wants to call? You can let me know you're going to call before you call, so that we can make sure the line is clear. So, but yeah, Kat, hit it up, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see where we're at. Just to sort of kind of close up, if you're hurting people, focus on what's coming out of you, okay? Focus on what is coming out of you towards another human being. Focus on what is being told to you, or what you're saying to yourself on a regular basis that is affecting how you're feeling. Hi, this is Dr. Walker.
Hello, Dr. Walker.
Hey, is this Kat?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let me turn it up so people can hear you. How are you?
I've been good. How are you?
Good to hear you back. What's going on?
Nothing much. Kind of readjust to being fronted again.
Sure. Why don't we keep it a little surface so we don't activate anything. Why don't you tell people what it's like having, are you okay talking about, giving people an idea of what it's like to have dissociative identity disorder? Are you okay with that?
Well, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Why don't we talk a little bit about that? What's that like? People don't know that dissociative identity disorder used to be called multiple personality disorder, where
Yes.
you have multiple different alters that take over at times, and they're some are benevolent, some are malevolent. So why don't you just go wherever you want to go without getting too and again, just whenever it's getting too intense, just let me know.
Either I'll let you know, or Amity will end up fronting, and you'll be able to tell by the accent.
Okay, sounds good.
Basically, dissociative identity disorder is look at your mind as a mirror, and your abuser or abusers kept punching that mirror until it shattered. And it shattered into many different pieces, which turned into different individuals. And now we're working to try to build that mirror and put it back together if possible.
Great. And give us an idea of how you do that. How do you work to put the mirror back together?
Intense therapy, hypnotherapy, counseling, working with each other, learning each other. There's just a lot of different steps that go into it. And my mirror will never be fully put back together, but we've got it to the point where we work together as a system, and we're not working against each other anymore.
Right. Well, you sound pretty good tonight. This is the first time I've actually talked to you, but you have a sort of like, lightness to your voice. Are you in a particularly good phase, or have you been down?
I know today I'm actually in a particularly good day. This is the first day I've fronted in months. So
how does it feel?
A little weird. It feels weird to be back.
Sure.
But yet good at the same time. I'm just seeing all these new toys and stuffies that Aurora has bought, and I'm just like, what has she been doing for the last few months?
Right. Well, good. And we've talked about this a little bit.
Looks like a unicorn den right now.
Oh, really? Is she into unicorns? Nice.
Oh, she adores unicorns.
Well, like we've talked. What's that?
See, the tenacity of this child. She knows how to use my cell phone and use Amazon.
Oh, wow.
She fronts that is supervised by Amity. She goes on a unicorn shopping spree.
Nice. Well, like we've talked about a couple times, Kat, is, you're the hub of the wheel, right? You're the hub, and that's what we're trying to get more centered in, and more of an ability to believe that you can front more, that you can handle it. That's what it's like. But tell us how it affects your daily life. Like, do you work? Are you on disability, or?
Out work.
What's that?
I don't work.
Okay.
Basically, the way it affects your daily life is some of your alters, if you go to like school for medical or something like that, some of your alters will have training, but not all of them, because not all of them front. So you risk a malpractice, you risk lawsuits. There's just a lot of dangerous things that could go into, especially when you have littles in your system like we do. It's just not something that's a good idea to work in anywhere that's dangerous. So if I was to start working again, it would be working from home, like telemarketing or something like that.
Nice. And how long have you been dealing with all of this?
I started remembering blackouts and losing track of time, probably like noticing them, probably around the age of 7, maybe 8.
Like you had missing time, like all of a sudden you would be like, you'd have, oh my God, like where did a few days go, or?
Come back and realize months had passed.
Wow.
I had matured, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
I looked different. I was developed. I would come back at different house, different clothes, and I would not know what was going on. My mom, before she passed, would tell me stories about certain things, and I would pretend like I knew, but I had no clue what she was talking about.
Right. And what would you say to somebody out there who is struggling with this, or they have symptoms like this and they haven't gotten help? What would you say to them?
Reach out for help, because the more you put it off, the more you try to deny it, the more broken your own system will become, and the more your alters will create to try to deal with the broken system, to try to repair it. It's better to reach out. I know it's scary. I know not understanding is scary. But if you have a doctor that, like I do, that's trained on how to handle D.I.D, They know how to go through the certain steps and certain processes to reveal this information to you to make sure you do not permanently regress and there's no permanent trauma from you realizing that the alters exist.
Right, right. How did you get help, by the way? When this started happening when you were younger, did people identify it, or did you seek out help on your own, or?
My mom, because of the whole situation that happened with the abuse, she was taking me to therapy after I told her what was going on. And my doctor started noticing certain things. So he didn't tell me right away because that would have regressed me and it could have caused a lot of problems. I wasn't mentally ready to handle that information. So he just took notes, he watched, he observed. And once I hit about 17, 18, he said, I suspect you have multiple personalities. And
that must have been a shock, though.
Yeah, it was a shock. It was a big shock. And about 6-7 months after that, I agreed to be hypnotized. And that's when we identified who was who and who did what. And started working on building the system and working together, making sure information gets transferred. So if there is a blackout, we can still go back and read the journal or whatever and see what we need to find out.
Okay, and how are you feeling about talking about all this right now?
As long as it's not my trigger topics, I have no issues with talking about it.
Okay, great. Yeah, I want to, if you and I were working together, it would be a different story. We'd be, doing that, but I don't want to do anything that's going to cause anything to trigger. Do you mind, is one of your trigger topics giving people an idea of what it's like to be in an inpatient unit?
No, my main trigger topic is the type of abuse that I suffer.
Okay.
Or any type of abuse whatsoever. That is the trigger for me. So that's one thing we will avoid.
Okay. Without actually talking about the actual abuse, what would you say to somebody who has been abused and it's still affecting them?
It's going to be hard to recover from, depending on the level of your abuse. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Absolutely, because they're different degrees of abuse.
Yeah, people always tell you, oh, it gets easier with time. No, it doesn't.
Sure.
Honestly, you just learn how to cope with it. You learn how to live with it. But one thing I've learned is to forgive. Not to physically tell these people, I forgive you, but to internally forgive. You don't have to forget, but forgive.
Okay, walk us through that a little bit. What do you mean by forgive? Everyone has a different idea of what forgiveness is. What do you mean by forgive?
Don't forgive yourself for blaming yourself. Forgive yourself for trying to find out if you were the problem. Forgive yourself for thinking that it's your fault that this happened to you.
Excellent.
Basically, forgive yourself for blaming yourself. Because as long as you continue to blame yourself, you're never going to be able to move forward.
Sure. And what I've seen working with a lot of people who have had sexual trauma is they hate themselves for it still affecting them. Like they say, I shouldn't be still bothered by this, or this shouldn't still be affecting me. And all that does is traumatize the victim, because you're telling the victim of the abuse, you should get over it, let it go. So when you mean when you say that's good forgiveness with self-forgiveness, but when you're talking about forgiveness with the abuser, like is that what you're talking about?
You can forgive the abuser if you choose to.
Sure.
But you're not required to.
Exactly.
But one thing that I always recommend when I talk to people who have been through similar trauma as mine is forgive yourself. Forgive your abuser if you choose to, but never forget what happened so you can prevent it from happening to your children or your family members. There's a difference between forgiving and forgetting, and people get that mixed up.
Yeah, and that whole forgive and forget is that's such a fallacy, because you're never going to forget. You can't forget. People have this idea that you can, and then they can't forget, so then they don't forgive. So I encourage people to dissect those two topics completely. Focus on forgiving, but you're right. Focus on forgiving yourself. So before we break off here, and thank you for calling, give us an idea. Like a lot of people who may have stumbled on this live stream don't know what it's like to be in an inpatient unit. Give us an idea of what that's like, because people may have seen, something on TV or a movie, and they think, oh my God, why don't you give us an idea what your experience has been like?
It's actually not anything like the negative you see on TV, movies, hear about. The facility I go to with my doctor is very sweet. They're attentive, they're caring. The reason that they do take your items from you is for your own protection.
Sure.
They're not trying to be mean, they're not trying to be hard on you, but they don't want you to be on social media and see something that triggers you.
Sure.
That's the whole reason you're not allowed your cell phone. They don't want you to be wearing jewelry and another patient gets a hold of it and hurts themselves, and then you have that guilt on you. That's the reason they take certain things from you, is to mentally protect you so you don't have any guilt.
Gotcha.
And to physically protect everybody in the unit.
Gotcha. And when you say unit, it's usually, these units are usually segregated from the main hospital, or they're right? Yeah.
They're segregated from the main hospital. It's boys and girls in the same unit, but they do not sleep in the same room. Women are on one side of the unit, men are on the other side of the unit, and the only time you coexist is in the day area or at classes or sessions that they happen to be doing lunchtime. But the beds are kept in two separate areas, and there's a staff on either end of the hallway to make sure the men and women don't go into each other's rooms.
And did you feel safe there? Did you feel cared about? They were?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, because that's what I want.
Anytime I be concerned, anytime I was having really bad nausea, because I do have a little bit of an eating disorder that I still struggle with. And the nurse noticed it, even though I wasn't saying anything. She's like, "Hey, I don't want to offend you, but I noticed you're vomiting. I can give you a Zofran or a shot of Phenergan if you'd like. I'll contact the doctor. We don't have to tell nobody else. Just if you like, I want to help you."
Great.
They were very attentive, very caring. Normally, in most inpatient facilities, like the one I go to, there's 2 to 3 patients to 1 nurse. So the nurses are not overwhelmed. There's multiple nurses on staff, and each nurse has 2 or 3 patients. This way they're not overwhelmed, and they can focus strictly on the patients.
Great. And thank you.
I have been there. I've been under supervised watch. So there's always a tech or an aide sitting outside the door, would just keep an eye sitting outside the door, sat in the room quietly while I slept, and never bothered me, never made their presence overwhelming. They stayed a distance away to where I would feel safe and comfortable, but they could still keep an eye on me. They won't invade your privacy. They won't invade your space. They're not going to be all up in your face if you're not causing any issues.
Beautiful. Great. See, and that's the perspective I want people to understand, is that these mental health units are not scary, foreboding. You don't have there are different degrees of them. Sure, there are some mental health units that have more intensely mentally ill people, but you will be placed in the corresponding unit that's particular to your degree of mental illness. So if people are, if there's somebody out there worried like they're going to hurt themselves, and they're watching this and they think, "Oh my God, I can't go to a mental health unit, whatever," because of what I want them to hear from you that it's a healing environment.
No, it's a very safe, very healing environment. They have what's called the psych unit, and then they have the PISU, which is a psychiatric intensive care unit. Those are the more difficult patients, the ones that need to be sedated. They're put in the PICU.
Sure, they're the most. They're dangerous. They have some sort of history of violence or. Okay.
You will never encounter them. You will never be around them. They're in what's called the PICU, which is a psychiatric intensive care unit.
Okay.
And the unit that you would be in is a very calm, quiet unit. If there's any issues that arise, they shut it down before it can even start. It's a very calm, quiet place. They have a no-nonsense policy, a no-tolerance policy. Violent, dangerous, or outbursts are kept in a totally separate unit. So you would not have to worry about that.
Excellent.
You always hear, "Oh, they make you share, they make you talk." No, that's not true. If you tell them you're not comfortable, they'll skip you.
Exactly. You have therapeutic groups.
Bothering you. Yeah. Or if you're in a group and they're talking about something that's triggering at my ward that I go to, I can get up and walk out. And then my nurse will approach me. I would tell her this was a topic. She's like, "Okay, just go sit down there or go."
They're not going to force you and say, "No, you have to go to your." Exactly.
No, if you're uncomfortable, You can tell them there, or you can just walk out and explain to your nurse, this was making me uncomfortable.
Beautiful.
And they'll give you, if you like coloring, reading, whatever it is, they'll tell you, go do a distraction, go meditate, go do whatever you need to do to calm down. We'll have a tech come sit with you and just to make sure you're okay. And you and the tech can talk if you want. If needed, like with me, they'll contact my doctor and she'll immediately come in if she's not dealing with something else and sit down and discuss what triggered me, what about that class triggered me. And then she'll go and discuss with the staff, if you're going to have these subjects in class, please tell her to stay out, or please tell one of the alters to stay out of the class.
Great. Well, that's a great perspective. So just to close out here, thank you for calling. But again, what would you say to somebody who is struggling with any kind of mental illness and not getting help? What would you say to encourage them?
I used to be where you are and battle in silence, and it almost didn't end well. Please get help. I know it seems scary. I know you've heard a lot of bad things, but it's not the way it seems. It's
Great.
okay to reach out. Hey, if you need help. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you vulnerable. That means you're trying to help yourself. You're trying to heal. Honestly, I think when you reach out, you're a lot stronger than other people who don't.
Exactly.
Because it's a lot to reach out to help.
Because you're saying to yourself, it's okay that I need help. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, great, Kat. Thank you for calling. Why don't you and I maybe coordinate by, through my Facebook page or something, and we can go a little deeper without, getting anything triggered or anything. We can talk a little bit more or see where we could go and have you back on. But thank you for calling. I really appreciate that.
Wonderful.
I hope that people who are listening to this understand that Kat has a pretty significant degree of mental illness, but she's talking openly about it. She's working on it like if she had some sort of COVID or cancer or whatever it may be, and she's got to deal with it. So thank you, Kat. I appreciate you calling.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. It was great to hear from you.
You too. Great to hear your voice. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So that's a great example of what I'm talking about, people, is we need to be okay with mental illness the way we and when I say okay, we need to accept it as something that needs to be worked on. Okay. So thanks, Kat. We really appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of people who have tuned in. It was great to hear your voice and put a voice to the texting. So thank you for that. So again, people, just to close out here, because I'm trying, some of the feedback I've been getting is, dude, your streams are too long. They're great, but they're too long. But the topic tonight was how to stop hurting people. So I'm not going to go through the 5 things again. You can rewind it and hear it. But the main one, is stop hurting yourself. Okay? Stop hating yourself. And when I say stop, I mean begin the process of working on it. Begin the process of healing your relationship with you. Okay? Hurt people. Okay? Bottom line. Okay? If you're hurting somebody, own it. Apologize for hurting them. You may disagree with them. You don't have to agree with them, but you can apologize for hurting them. If you're hurt, work on what's hurting you. Work on those pains. They can heal. They can manage. All right? All right, everybody. Well, thank you for logging on tonight. I really appreciate all the feedback. Kat, my sister, thank you for bravely calling in and giving people an idea that a psychiatric mental health unit is a safe, healing environment to be able to work on your issues. Just like you would go to the hospital for COVID or whatever else. They're working on your mental illness, meaning what is going on in your mind, what is happening with you to help you. It's not, you're not going to be in a straitjacket. You're not going to have, they're going to assess what degree of mental illness you have, and they're going to put you in an appropriate place. And if there's anybody out there struggling with hurting themselves or wanting to kill themselves or wanting to do damage to somebody else, please get some help. Please work on that so that you can work on healing yourself, which then will cause you to not hurt yourself and other people. All right, people. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry about last week. It was a really rough week on our end, so I had to kind of log off. I'm not going to be on Thursday night. I'll be again on the following week. We'll have a good topic. Maybe Kat will come back on and we'll talk some more. Please remember my Help a Human Fund. Please, It's a fund I can draw from to help people who don't have money to work on their mental illness. Please donate or forward it to somebody who may be able to donate something. Here's my website. I can always be contacted through my website if anybody wants to chat. Last time, I'm going to talk about betterhelp.com. If you want to get some online therapy, it's so effective. One great silver lining about COVID is that people are realizing I can work on my issues over a video connection or phone line and work. Absolutely give it a shot. Type in betterhelp.com/Dr. Walker. You will get a special price. Okay. All right, everybody. Again, last bit. If you're hurting people, own it, work on it. And I almost guarantee you it is a projection from your own hurt. Work on that hurt. You know that now Naomi Osaka and everyone, is saying what we've been saying for years. It's okay to not be okay. Actually, absolutely. It's okay to not feel okay. But it's only okay to not be okay if you're friggin' working on what's making you feel not okay. Okay? If you're going to say it's okay that I'm not okay and I'm just going to stay hurting people and depressed and down, that's not okay. Work on it. Okay? It's okay to not be okay if you're working on it. Okay? All right, everybody. Take care. I'll see you Tuesday and Thursday night next week. We'll have another good topic. And thank you for all your text. And we will see you next week and go from there. Send me some ideas. Send me some, if you want to be on the show, go back, send me give me a call, leave me a voicemail, and we'll work it out. All right, guys, have a great weekend and week. And it's my anniversary tomorrow night. So we are taking Thursday and Friday for a little family time. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great time. Thank you for your support. And I appreciate everyone logging on. I really do. Thank you for working on your degree of mental illness, because we all have a degree. All right, everybody, take care. Do not lose hope. Work on it.